Here's a powerful concept I want to share with you. God's vision for you is enough. And when we say enough, I mean there isn't a higher thing. It's not, well, you shouldn't want more. There isn't more. And when I say there isn't more, I'm not saying God has limited you. I'm saying you are limiting yourself by wanting something that God never wanted for you. By trying to be somebody God never intended for you to be. By thinking there was something greater when there isn't. Not just for you, for anybody. There's nothing greater than what God created you for. God had something in mind. People search out purpose and they say, well, I need a purpose. I need a big calling. Well, the thing is that the purpose and the calling came before you did. And you aren't assigned it sometime after you're born. You were born for that thing. And God did not create you in the fullness of who you are. But he didn't create you hoping you would become something either. Look at the creation of the world, how God created the world. It is so amazing. Because he said that when he made the world, it was good. But the world wasn't everything that God had in mind for it. It had not reached the fullness and the completion of it. Otherwise, there'd be nothing for Adam and Eve to do. Think about that. Think about that. He gave them something to do. He said, go and do this. Why? Because they were to carry on to completion what he began. And not by themselves. Not as assistant gods, but as people. They're not to step into some role. And that's where the whole thing went off track, is that Adam and Eve thought, hey, we can be our own gods. That may not be the right wording or phraseology, but that's basically it. And so a lot of times we get off track in our lives trying to be something or become something. You'll never really become something that you just aren't. And you should never feel bad about that. And you should never think that that's something less. Because it's not. It's not. God created you with the foundation of who you are, with the characteristics you have, and it's a beautiful, wonderful, exalted thing if you walk in it. And the only way to walk in it is not by yourself and not primarily with the counsel of other people. Any counsel that anybody gives you should always lead you towards what God has called you to do. Never away from it. And it should always lead you into God's arms and dependency on him and sufficiency in him. And when and where it doesn't, you should always question that counsel. Anytime somebody counsels you with something and says, well, yes, God said this, but you have to use wisdom. That's not wisdom. That's stupidity. That's sheer stupidity. Yes, God said this, but you have to be wise. In other words, God didn't really give you wisdom in this. You have to have wisdom above what God did. I mean, what? The question is, okay, you want me to use wisdom. Is what you're saying, did it come from the spirit of knowledge and wisdom and understanding and insight? Or did it come from human thinking? No matter how good it is, no matter how prevalent it is, no matter how many people say the same thing, and no matter how you think that people's lives have worked out by that common understanding, that common sense, that common logic, the herd mentality. Lately, we see the herd mentality doing a lot of really ugly, nasty things. I feel like we always do, but right now I think it's more obvious than usual. So you have to have that one-on-one relationship with God, but you also have to be willing to take the mentorship that people offer, the training, but you take it to God. You be like the good Berean in the New Testament, that, you know, the apostles themselves, the people that walked with Yeshua HaMashiach. That is, you know, some people know him as Jesus Christ. I'm sorry that, I'm not sorry, but I note that I might use different words, not to be any kind of elitist, not because I think I'm better than someone else because I use better words. I do that simply because the words we often use get diluted and misused, and it's easier sometimes to go back to the original words and say, well, let's start again from there. It gets people to think, and they go, he calls Jesus Yeshua. Don't assume that I do it out of some religious spirit, because that's not the case. I actually do it because I want to be close to him, and that was his name. That's what they called him in the Hebrew, Yeshua. At least that's what my research has shown, and if that's mistaken, I'll correct it at some point. But anyway, you know, that's what Yeshua taught. You know, I don't remember what I was talking about. Let me go back and figure that out.